Welcome in to the Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Happy to have you with us. Coming up on today's show, we are talking all things Lamar Jackson. The day after he was handed the non-exclusive franchise tag, where do things stand right now? And what about interest from other teams? We'll dissect all of that coming up in just a moment from right now. Before we do, folks, we are closing in on 9,000 subscribers here on the channel. We are less than 90 away, to be exact. About 81 right now to get to that milestone. We need your help to get there. I promised you that when we got to 9,000 subscribers, I'm going to down 9 shots of alcohol on the Ravens Rundown. So if that doesn't give you a reason to subscribe, I don't know what else will. Subscribe now for the latest happenings in your favorite team. We're talking trades, free agency, draft, daily videos, news and rumors, and more. This is the place to be. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. Let's party. Let's have a good time when we get to 9,000 subs. So today we are focusing on the topic of collusion. And that might be a word you may be familiar with dating back to 2016. I'll leave it at that. Are NFL teams colluding against Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson? As within hours, minutes of the news that the Ravens were putting the non-exclusive franchise tag, all of a sudden we heard teams already weren't interested in the Ravens quarterback, of giving him a deal, and whether it was the guaranteed money situation, giving up the draft picks, whatever it may be, just like that. Teams that also were in a situation where they needed quarterbacks and were publicly saying no, that they weren't interested in Lamar Jackson. That seemed kind of weird, right? A little fishy. I'll say this. I can't say firmly at this point in time that this is collusion for a fact. It does sound pretty fishy. I'm not going to jump to that conclusion just yet. But what I can tell you is that this whole narrative that you're seeing from some of the talking heads on ESPN and within the mainstream media, that this is somehow racially motivated against Lamar Jackson, is absurd. Last time I checked, yes, Lamar Jackson's black, but Deshaun Watson is also black and got all that guaranteed money last year. And with the stuff going on with him, with the allegations that were against him from 20-plus women, they seem to have no issue giving him that guaranteed money. So to say that it's a race issue now, but it wasn't a race issue with Deshaun, that just doesn't add up. So quit watching ESPN and some of these networks that are telling you that nonsense, that that's the case, because it's just simply not true. With that said, let's go ahead and look at the quarterback money of what guys have gotten so far through free agency to this point. And free agency hasn't even officially started yet. Derek Carr with the Saints ended up getting a $37.5 million deal for 4 years. Geno Smith ended up with $35 million from the Seattle Seahawks to remain in Seattle for the next 3 years. Daniel Jones with the $40 million deal to stay with the New York Giants over 4 years. And then there's Lamar, who's currently on the non-exclusive tag with the Ravens for $32 million is where the money adds up. So, with that, I want to ask you to begin today's show, our pinned comment, is the NFL colluding against Lamar Jackson? I'm not going to give a definitive answer yet, but I'm leaning towards yes. What say you? Let me know in the comments section. How do you feel about this situation? Is the NFL colluding against Lamar Jackson? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let me know what you're thinking if the NFL is colluding against Lamar Jackson or not. So let's go through the list of teams that apparently are not interested in Lamar, according to reports that have surfaced within the last 24 hours. The Atlanta Falcons, we found out within seconds of when the Ravens were going to put the non-exclusive tag that they weren't interested in Lamar Jackson all of a sudden, and that was a big shock because they may have been the team that was pointed to the most of making a move. Then there's the Las Vegas Raiders. We already know they moved on from Derek Carr, but now interest seems to be in Jimmy Garoppolo and then still drafting a quarterback potentially for Las Vegas there in that situation. Carolina Panthers, when's the last elite quarterback that they've had in a while? They've been so bad at the quarterback position, but apparently Carolina's not interested. The Miami Dolphins make a little more sense because they do have a young quarterback in Tua. And Tua, when he was healthy last year, played very well and had by far the best season of his career. So that one makes a little more sense maybe than some of the others. But then the Washington Commanders, the Commies, I mean, think about that. You guys know pretty well, right there within the DMV. When's the last time the Commies had a great quarterback? I mean, you have to go way back to when they've had a relatively good quarterback. I guess they had Kirk Cousins for a minute, but they didn't want to pay him. And, I mean, you just look at it. It just doesn't add up. This doesn't make sense. Something seems very fishy to have these teams within minutes, hours, saying, yeah, we're out on Lamar right now. And also knowing that it'd be 2 first-round picks as opposed to if they would have put the exclusive franchise tag on him, the Ravens probably would have wanted about 3 first-round picks. So you're getting him at a potential cheaper cost if you were to make that move. But with that said, it's a little weird, huh? More on this here in just a second. Before we do, today's show is sponsored by Fume. We all have bad habits, and we certainly know how hard they can be to kick those habits. Our sponsor, Fume, is on a mission to accelerate humanity's breakup from the bad habits that consume far too many of us. Fume is a natural diffusive device that uses plants and behavioral science to help you trade out your negative habit for a positive one. I didn't expect much out of Fume when I got it, but the minty sensation is really powerful and really hits the back of the throat. The Journey Pack comes with 3 unique flavors for you to enjoy: maple pepper, crisp mint, and white cranberry. Fume is not a vape. It's a non-electronic device designed to transform your negative habits. The easiest way to stop a bad habit is to switch to a positive one, and Fume is designed perfectly to do just that. Head to tryfume.com/chatsports. Use code CHATSPORTS to save 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. That's tryfume/chatsports and use code CHATSPORTS to save an additional 10% off your order, and you'll be glad you did. Tell them that Tyler Jones and Chat Sports sent you. That's tryfume.com/chatsports for that 10% off the Journey Pack. Now, I'll say this. I like Lamar Jackson. I want to see Lamar Jackson get his dues and get paid. Would love to see him, even if it's somewhere else, get that guaranteed money he wants. But let's be real here. Lamar, this situation would be a lot easier if he had an agent doing these negotiations here. Instead of representing himself and having his mom involved in all this, I mean, he could have an agent that sits there and tells him, hey, you know, the guaranteed money you're wanting is not there, but we can do this for you. Or an agent that works with these teams regularly and knows how they negotiate those things. I mean, that's the truth of the matter here. Lamar would be in much better shape if he had an agent. And there's belief, according to The Athletic, get this, some agents and people within the NFL believe Jackson would likely already have a deal done if he had an agent. And with the Ravens, that he would be a Baltimore Raven had he had an agent right now. So here's the deal. Where things stack up right now for Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, I think this, within the last 24 hours, what the Ravens could get in a deal for Lamar Jackson, if you are in the camp of that you want the Ravens to move on from him, well, what they can get for him's gone down. Like, you went from thinking, okay, you know, we can put the exclusive franchise tag on him, try to get 3 picks, maybe some players or something like that. Now you're like, man, if you're in the camp of hoping the Ravens move on from Lamar, you're like, oh, does anybody want to give the 2 first-round picks? Okay, maybe not. But if you are in the camp of that you want Lamar to stay around, want him to be the Ravens quarterback, like me, then the chances of what's happened in the last several hours have gone up because Lamar's chances of getting said guaranteed money doesn't look very good at this point in time. So where will Lamar Jackson end up when it's all said and done in free agency? Is he back in Baltimore? Does one of these teams step up and say that they do want to do a deal? Remember, we still have a few more days before free agency officially begins. Does somebody change their mind, quite frankly? Does somebody stop towing the NFL company line and say they want to go ahead and give that guaranteed money? Let me know. Where does Lamar end up? Tell me in the comment section. You also interact with me on social media as well. Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Tyler Jones Live. I'll see you next time right here on the Ravens Rundown.